Alrighty boys, welcome back once again to another video. How you guys doing? Guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the newest Rat Rod rocket launcher within Fortnite Save the World, known as the V6 launcher, and of course going to be doing a little bit of a gameplay and review in today's video. Before we do jump into it, I just want to mention that my G Fuel code is 30% off if you guys do want to pick any of this up, whether it be the cans whenever they re-release, or whether it be the powder or anything like that. If you guys do want to use my code, it's code demonjoefr, 30% off. And yeah, if you guys do buy anything, make sure to tweet me on Twitter and I'll hit you with a follow. But let's go ahead and jump into the video and let's talk about the newest rocket launcher to come to save the world. If you guys do want to pick up the V6 launcher, all you got to do is head on over to the item shop, go to the item section, and it'll be right here under the weekly store as the copper V6 launcher. This, of course, like I said, is part of the Rat Rod set, so it looks kind of like a car. And it's quite interesting. Whenever you do pull this weapon out, it does rev up like a car engine as well. Pretty interesting dynamic right there. If we go and head on over to the armory, we can take a look at this weapon, and I'll show you guys the rolls that I went with on this. So if we take a look at the weapon right here, we have a crit rating, crit damage, and a damage to afflicted. Normally, whenever I do use rocket launchers, I like to make it energy, so it's as universal as possible. If you take a look at the stats over here, we have a 38% crit hit chance. Now, the reason that this really works on rocket launchers is because rocket launchers hit multiple enemies at the same time. This means that the more enemies that you shoot at one time, the higher chance you have to crit on at least one of them. So a crit build on a rocket launcher is always the ideal option. So you have 38% crit hit chance, 320 critical hit damage, a fire rate of 2.0, a magazine size of 6, a durability of 15, and we'll definitely get into that in a bit, 3.5 reload time, and 10,300 impact. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the loadout that we are rocking with this weapon, going over to the command center, we are using Rex Jonesy. What Rex Jonesy does is that for every 1 second, he adds 9% of current health to the next shot of your weapon. It can be any ranged weapon in the game, and this, of course, does include launchers. The reason I like using Rex Jonesy over every other character for launchers is because he's so unique in the sense that you could make an assault rifle build for Rex Jonesy and still be doing really good damage with any other weapon that you're using because of his very unique perk. He's essentially a universal damage buff character for anything that is ranged. So we have Blast from the Past, of course, with Saurian Focus and Hide to support that team perk. We have Faster Explosions, which comes from Penny, Demolitionist Penny, for 17% more damage. Locked and Reloaded for 15% damage after a reload. The reason that I went this route is because I noticed that I wasn't really proccing as much whenever it came to Plasma Arc. Normally I would go with Plasma Arc. He allows you, or Cyberclops allows you to basically have a 20% chance to zap to nearby enemies. I didn't really notice this perk getting all that much use, so I went over to Locked and Reloaded. But if you do plan on using this launcher alongside energy assault rifles, I would recommend Plasma Arc. Just for this video, I am going to be using Locked and Reloaded though. And of course we have Go and Coconut so that we can sustain our health, as well as Adrenaline Rush and Slow Field. Now, of course, we are going to be doing a test, on smashers and on normal enemies in a 124 zone. This is basically where I like to go to get most of my gameplay. So if we head on over here to this 124 category, Fight the Storm, we're going to be doing this mission right here for a smasher test. Do keep in mind that I'm in a game by myself, so I'm not getting buffed by any of my teammates, so I could be doing potentially more damage if I was in a full squad. But let's go and jump into the mission and see exactly how this weapon performs. Alrighty boys, so here we are in game with the V6 launcher. Now, the V6 launcher is quite the unique weapon. Not only does it have a very, very shiny flashlight, or a little bit of a headlight on the back, it also makes a very unique sound whenever you pull it out. Sounds just like an engine revving up. Definitely makes itself known right there. Basically, what we're going to be doing in this mission is that there is actually a smasher right down there, an encampment, and another smasher back there. We're going to be doing a smasher test, kind of showcasing this weapon against multiple enemies as well, and all the while, basically be giving you guys my opinion on this weapon. If you guys did want to see an early review of this weapon, you guys can go check me out on twitch.tv/demonjoefrance. We always stream whenever new weapons come out, and we also stream about 5 times a day. So make sure you guys do check that out if you guys are interested in a little bit of extra content. But let's go ahead and jump into this. I have my coconuts ready. I went ahead and gave myself a health boost, so we have just about 1,000,000 health, and we're going to test out this weapon against a smashy boy. So what we're going to do, I kind of don't want to make the other husks mad. I hope there's only one smasher in here. I don't want there to be any other enemies in here. Here, I'm going to walk all the way around. A little bit of a stealth mission right now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. a little bit of a stealth mission. The blaster's a little bit angry, but that's okay. I guess I'll just let him do his thing. We're gonna go ahead and wake this big thick boy up. Oh god. Ow. So let's kind of kite him over here just a bit. Maybe break this in the middle of the room. Smashy, please just cooperate with me. You know, he's actually being a really good boy right now. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to slow field this big luscious boy. Just like that. Eat a coconut for some extra damage. And lay waste to this smashy boy. And as you guys can see, you can definitely tell when this weapon crits, and you can also tell when this weapon does not crit. You can see that it does some pretty decent damage if you are lucky with your crits. Of course, this is a rocket launcher, so it's not necessarily supposed to be a single target damage weapon. It's actually supposed to be multi-target. You're supposed to be shooting at multiple targets at one time. For those of you guys that do not know how crit works in this game, I can explain it very quickly. Let's go ahead and say that these 3 sniper rifles on the floor are husks. If I shoot my rocket between all 3 of these husks, each one of these guys have their own chance of being critted on. So I could crit on these 2 and not that one. I could crit on that one, but not these 2. I could crit on all 3 of them, or I could crit on none of them. So essentially, whenever you are using this weapon, the purpose is to hit as many enemies as possible, as the way that this weapon works, or with any explosive weapon with crit, basically the more enemies that you hit at one time, the more chance you have of a crit to go off. But there is a little bit of a problem with this whenever it does come to this weapon. I do apologize if I freeze at any point during this gameplay. Fortnite has been acting a little bit weird for me. Like, it's been a little choppy. I'm not sure why. So, using this weapon right off the bat, you guys just saw me shoot into that group of 4 husks, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one to notice that they were all completely bunched up, and I hit 3 out of the 4. One bad thing about this weapon that I really dislike is the fact that although it's a rocket launcher, and most rocket launchers are meant for multi-target damage, it would seem that this weapon's, blast radius is about half a tile, and sometimes it even feels like less. The purpose of rocket launchers, of course, is to explode and hit as many enemies as possible. However, with this weapon in particular, I find myself having a little bit of trouble at times. Now, in this case right here, we're actually not going to have too much of a bad time hitting as many husks as possible. Go and eat a coconut really quick for some added health. There's plenty of them all together, so we're not going to have too much of an issue. But just in normal missions, right? Whenever you're just in a normal mission and you're fighting a group of husks, or, you see a patrol, or, they're attacking your base, whatever. Normally husks... Okay, Fortnite's being a little bit weird. Normally husks aren't really going to be as packed together as they are in these encampments. And what I've just really noticed with this weapon is that the blast radius isn't that good. Now, what you might have noticed with the Smasher is that I did really decent damage against the Smasher. I mean, let's be honest. Rocket launchers aren't supposed to be single target weapons. They're supposed to be for multi-target, and it did really good damage against the Smasher. The only problem with that is that unlike the Santa's Little Helper, you can't roll this weapon with a double crit rating, double crit damage to get that 50% critical hit chance. So you're stuck with a weapon that does really good single target damage, but doesn't have the crit chance to support it. You're also stuck with a rocket launcher that has pretty good crit hit damage. I mean, just any rocket launcher with double crit damage will have good crit damage, but it also is lacking on the blast radius as well, as to the point where you're not really going to be able to take advantage of it as much as you really would like. Another thing that I noticed with this weapon is that just in those few confrontations, if you look at my hotbar between the 2 rocket launchers that I have, you'll notice that the durability is really, really low. Now, with this rocket launcher, what you expect is, of course it has 6 in the magazine. So you're expecting a, fully automatic rocket launcher that you're going to be able to use for quite some time. And if I hold down my click, you guys can see that, you can shoot it. It's fully automatic. It's very similar to a cannonade, kind of combined with a quad launcher. Except with the cannonade, if we take a look at the durability of the cannonade is 30, and it lasts a very long time. Even if we look at the deatomizer has a durability of 43. This weapon is stuck with 15. 15. There it is. And that's bad. that's a really bad thing because it just runs out really quickly, and I'm not sure if it's a bug or not, but it's something that is really concerning with a fully automatic rocket launcher, because when I use it, I feel like I'm punished for using it. I feel like my materials are just going down the drain when I use this weapon. Not only is the damage subpar and the single target, potential just kind of but the multi-target potential as well is kind of as well as my materials just seemingly going down the drain when I use it. It just doesn't feel satisfying whenever I craft one of these and decide to use it against husks. I just feel like I'm wasting my time. Now let me go ahead and make sure which one of these I'm using. Right here we have the 320. And then we have, okay, 3 185s. For those of you guys that are curious, I did try out a double crit rating build to see if that getting rid of one of the crit damages would be wise, essentially. It is not. It does not do much damage whatsoever, I can tell you. It's pretty minuscule. It is okay for like these groups of husks right here. But even then, if you guys just look, those 2 basic husks didn't even die from 1 rocket. So it's pretty sad. If we go ahead and switch back to the double crit damage, we can walk up to this big beefy boy, and we can throw down this slow field. Hopefully we'll be able to kill him in this with this rocket launcher without having to switch. So let's go ahead and use it up. As you guys can see, a very massive amount of damage, is being done whenever this weapon crits. But when it doesn't crit, it is pretty bad. One really good thing about something like the cannonade is, of course, the fire rate of the weapon combined with the durability, so it really doesn't seem as though it's not, just not critting as much. With this weapon, you fire a little bit slower, so you kind of notice whenever the weapon doesn't crit. You also notice, of course, because your weapon breaks really quickly, that it's just not that satisfying, and shooting at a group of husks, as you see right here, I'm barely even touching all of them. Now this one right here is the double crit rating, as it really doesn't matter too much now because we're going against, softer enemies, with softer health pools. Go and get rid of this taker right here. But as you're noticing, I am pumping so many rockets into these enemies, and of course, I am a 130, 131 using a 130 against 124s. That guy is only going to die because of my affliction. This weapon, in my opinion, honestly, and I don't like whenever I have to negatively review a weapon, but it's just pitiful. It breaks so quickly. The single target damage, or the single target potential, is just not there. The multi-target potential is just not there, and it honestly just feels like a huge waste whenever I use this weapon. If you are curious, just don't perk it up. Whatever you do, don't perk this weapon up. It will be a waste of your perk up. I like to perk these weapons up so you guys don't have to, and this is one of those reviews where I just have to say, it's just not good. The Santa's Little Helper is a fantastic single target and multi-target damage weapon. The cannonade is a fantastic multi-target damage weapon. This weapon tries to combine the two. It tries to be good against single target, and it tries to be able to deal with groups with its crowd control of the fire rate and the magazine size. However, it is not like the cannonade. It breaks way too quickly and it doesn't fire quick enough. And it's not like the Santa's Little Helper because it can't crit as often, it can't crit as consistently, and it just doesn't hit as hard, or seemingly as hard as the Santa's Little Helper does. So, all in all, this weapon right here, the V6 launcher, is just a huge disappointment in my opinion. And if you guys are curious out of, a number out of 10 that I would give this weapon, I would give it a solid 3.5 out of 10. I just feel like it's below average. I feel like you could be doing better with the bazooka. If you were using the bazooka, I would much rather people use the bazooka, De-atomizer, of course, if you have it, that is a fantastic weapon for huge amounts of damage on multiple enemies. The cannonade is a fantastic weapon against huge amounts of weak enemies. The Santa's Little Helper is good against pretty much anything. This weapon right here is good against nothing. It has no place in the rocket launcher kingdom, as it just has terrible durability, it has terrible single target potential and multi-target potential. It just feels like a waste when you use this weapon. But guys, that's pretty much it for me, and we ended up back where we started. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. That's my review of the V6 launcher. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I had a few people on my stream, about 2 or 3, that said that they quite enjoyed the weapon, or they thought that it was decent. As for me, I think this weapon is absolutely garbage, and you shouldn't even level it up highly advise that you do buy it from the shop, as this thing could get buffed at any time in the future. But aside from that, please don't perk it up. You are wasting your time. But guys, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys would like to, you can use code demonjoefr at gfuel.com to support me and get 30% off your order. And yeah guys, make sure to leave a like on the video if you did like it, dislike if it did not, subscribe if you're new around here, I do videos like this all the time, and I'll see you guys next time.